Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming. Glad you're here. I see there's a couple people in my stream already. Hello, Oksana, and hello, Irina. It's great to see you. Thanks so much for coming. We have some things to talk about today, for sure. And I'm going to let everybody come in, hopefully. I've noticed that sometimes people don't even come into my live stream until about halfway through. So maybe I should just wait. Maybe I should sing a song, you know? I don't know. But if you're in here, say hello in the chat. I tried running Discord while I was doing this as well, and that wasn't going to happen. So, just want to thank you all for coming. I'll start with the preface that I always do now, which is, please understand, it's 9:30 at night here in Ukraine, and I've been working all day. Teaching Ukrainians English. So you're not getting my best, is what I'm trying to say. No excuses, but just be aware. Someday I'll do a live stream, you know, when I'm like fresh and awake and haven't been working for 12 hours already, you know. And who knows, maybe it'll be miraculous. Yeah, so we have a big topic to talk about today. I hope that some people are interested. Whatever you feel about the issue of LGBT, I think it's an important one to talk about that people maybe haven't thought of. And you know, because a lot of people have been talking about, oh, where's Putin gonna find his next victims for his MEATWAVES? You know, where's the crypto mobilization gonna come from? And if you haven't guessed from my title, from the little thumbnail you might have clicked on, I think I know. And well, it's not great. We all know Putler's the Dark Lord Sauron. But this is, you know, it's a new low. It's a new low. I mean, gays are, you know, have the potential to be like, you know, to face a new Holocaust, essentially, is what I'm basically predicting here. You know, and case in point, I would say is this, and this is not where it starts, but this is you know, this whole thing about declaring the LGBT movement is extremist. Now, being labeled an extremist sends you straight to jail in Russia. You know, I don't know about the rest of you, but you know, I remember growing up in the 1980s, 1990s in America. A lot of people think that for some reason America is this, you know, this great beacon of gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual, queer wonderland. And I can tell you, I grew up there, and it's not. I mean, maybe now, maybe in the last like 10, maybe 15 years, I'm going to say since since 2011 is when things really started to change. Maybe even as early as like 2007, but and it wasn't like brought in by Obama. In fact, he kind of resisted it. It was just a cultural change that took place, and it could be argued that that LGBT people have been fighting for equal rights. Okay, Belle, thanks for coming in. Thank you so much. So it could be argued that LGBT people have, they've been fighting for equal rights for decades, certainly since 1969 in America. But long before that as well. And in America, the LGBT issues were labeled extremist. Up until the early 2010s, gay parents, if you were gay or lesbian or bisexual, transgendered, any of that, you couldn't adopt children. You could very easily have your children taken away from you by the state. Until I believe 2011, and I may be wrong about the exact year, but I'm speaking about in America here, you could be fired from your job for being gay. No matter, I'm not talking about the military. We're not talking about gays in the military here. That's a completely different thing. I don't give a shit about gays in the military, and I think now that has been resolved largely too. There's gays in the military, and guess what? Nobody cares. It doesn't make a difference. There were gays in the military before, lots of them. I knew some gays who, gay men who joined the Marines specifically for for that reason, because they were gay. That's a great place to be. Okay, I'm joking. But people think it was a wonderland. I know a lot of people. When I say people, I mean like people in Ukraine have this idea that America is very pro LGBT, and it's not. It's not, and I'm going to talk about that right now. Good. I did find the page right away. So here's a map. I don't like the colors on this map, but I think at least it's accurate. So this is a current map showing what percentage of people oppose LGBT non-discrimination laws. So that means that I'm talking about laws that say you cannot discriminate, you cannot fire someone from their job, you cannot stop them from adopting, just because they're gay. All right. And these light greens here and the dark greens. So if you look at on the graph here, the dark green, that must be roughly 20%, I'm guessing. Let's see. What do we got here? Here's Arizona. Where's Arizona on that? Okay, Iowa. There's Iowa. I'm going to order these according to, so South Dakota. 32% of people in South Dakota, and South Dakota's right here. Thank God there's almost no one living in South Dakota. But 32% of people living in South Dakota oppose equal rights, essentially, for gay people. 30% of people in Oklahoma. Those of you, if you're in Australia, K-Bell, you get to learn U.S. geography. If you just look at this list here, and it's pretty clear that in a lot of states, you got around between 20 and 30% of the population who they're homophobes. They're, I wouldn't say the word homophobe. Homophobe implies that you are afraid of gays, and I think a lot of them are just hate gays. I don't know what the word is for gay hater, but I think homophobe is the wrong word, because I've been around a lot of gays and they're really not scary. There's this one time that a friend of mine, he was about 400 pounds. If you've ever seen a 400-pound transgendered man beat up a room full of Nazi skinheads in like a pink muumuu, that's a dress. It's a long dress. That's a scary sight to see. When a big like gay man, like with lipstick and everything, and just I'm not saying that all gays dress like that. It's just my friends. Yeah, throwing chairs, and those skinheads ran. Let me tell you. Okay, but in general, gays are cool. All right, I'm totally cool with them. I personally, I'll just tell you my personal experience. I grew up as a kid in the 1980s and 90s, being called gay all the time, every single day at school. Gay, 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 fag, fag, fag. And so, even though I'm not gay, I understand a little bit of like what it's like. Kids wanting to beat me up because they thought, it's just I was different for some reason, in some sort of, in some way, and just constant. And kids in America, it's super common. It's every other word is, you're gay, that's gay, whatever. So now that's radically changed. It's been a radical change in America in the last, 10 years. But again, we go back here to this map, and you can see. You know what? It's much better right now if I give you if you want to see where are the people who don't like gays, who are homophobes, forgive the term. Let's look at U.S. election map. All right, let's just take a look at that. Okay, yeah. The big red areas, and I don't like going by state because I think that's dumb. Because I can tell you there's a lot of homophobes in California. I grew up there, okay? There's a lot of California that's red. And there's a lot of places in California to this day you would not want to go walking around with a rainbow flag. And certainly parts of... I had a job in Arizona in 2016 where I was called gay. And there was one guy who was actually gay at the company, and everybody talked shit about him, And I actually quit my job, and I over that, and there was lots of a bunch of racists, homophobe, Trump-loving. It all goes hand in hand, from this middle red area of Arizona, and $80,000 a year job. And I said, fuck that. I'll have no truck with this. I'm sick and tired of hearing it. I'm sick, even if they're not calling me gay, I'm sick and tired of hearing them talk shit about gays. Like, that's how serious I am about this stuff, guys. Just so you know. Which is why I take it very seriously when I see what is happening, what has been happening to LGBTQI. There's probably some other alphabet letters we could go with, to what's happening with my friends. And this, here's the deal. Putin I don't even like to say his name. Pyotr wants to use this as a wedge to build a new, a new Cold War, a new, he wants to build this again, right? Except he doesn't want it to be just, he wants the whole world, more like. Okay, let's see here. More like this,
This morning, the British ambassador in Berlin handed the German government a final note, stating that unless we heard from them by 11 o'clock, that they were prepared at once to withdraw their troops from Poland, a state of war would exist between us.
So let's think about that. That's where he's heading with this. He wants to drive a wedge into the whole world, and let's see here. Let's just see if I can find my graph here. Oh, I had he wants to get a bunch of just like the Axis did in World War II. He wants to get as many countries on his side as he possibly can. And that's why he's going to the Middle East. And they're welcoming him with open arms. And yeah, maybe we could say that LGBT is not the biggest issue. The real issues are like oil, right? But this is a cover-up. It's a wedge issue. Just like I was talking about the other day, how Republicans are, Jake Broe had a really good explanation about it the other day, but how Republicans are using this issue of immigration. They don't give a shit about immigration. Okay, if they did, they had the chance to fix it many and multiple times. They knew it was a problem, and they haven't fixed it. They're using it as an issue to drive a wedge in the American public and to use Ukraine to blackmail, to hijack and blackmail Ukraine, And so that's what's happening here. And Pyotr knows this. You can look at this graph. It's a perfect example here. All these red areas here, you got your big Middle East right in there. And he knows that he sides with the Palestinians, he sides with Hamas. He talks about how bad the West is and how bad LGBT is. And the West is pushing the gay agenda. And the thing is I know that America looks green here. America looks like, very pro-gay, pro-LGBT, but it's not. It's not. And this, 20 to 30% really, really represents that hardcore right-wing minority that's common across the whole country, but especially in these areas. And they're exactly the same ones, the pro-MAGA guys who are holding up Ukraine's funding right now in Congress. And there's a reason I left, K-Bell. There's a reason I left. It's so easy to get into that divisiveness, and Pyotr is exacerbating that purposefully and trying to, and has been since at least 2016 and before. And this is an issue that he's using to do it. So I don't know what we're going to do in America about the divisions that have been happening, that continue to happen in American society. I don't know what the solution is to that. But I think that our Facebook algorithms are not helping, and and Putler is driving those, So the thing I'm trying to get to here is, if you support LGBT issues, unfortunately, the world is lining up, and Putler is just stirring the pot with Venezuela and Guyana. Of course, the real issue in Venezuela and Guyana is about oil. Okay, it's really about oil. But, they're claiming it's about territory and all of that. Guyana just recently discovered, like, one of the world's largest oil deposits. Even though Venezuela has a larger oil deposit, they're like, oh, I want more. And, we all know they've been backed by Russia for a long time. I was never one of these guys, like, I'm gonna do an episode about how much George Bush starting the Iraq War really screwed us for what's happening now, and screwed us for when the Middle East went crazy after the Arab Spring. That'll be another time. But if you look at this, what's the point of Russia, getting Venezuela, saying, "Hey, we're going to back you up. Start this war in in Guyana with your neighbor, and we'll back you up." They're trying to start a war in what they see as America's backyard. So that it will distract us and drive a wedge between us and Ukraine, so that they can, we can carve up Ukraine now, And they did the same thing with Hamas in Israel, supporting Hamas through Iran and Syria, and they're literally trying to start World War III. What's the phrase from Lord of the Rings? Like, war is upon us. We didn't ask for this, but it's time that we woke up. Just in case you weren't aware of what's going on with Venezuela and Guyana, if you hadn't been paying attention, Venezuela declared war on Guyana. Guyana is this tiny little country, and it's very interesting. My connection to Guyana is very similar to my connection to Ukraine originally. When I was VP of sales of an IT company in America, we hired people from other countries, and one of the countries we hired from was Ukraine, and another country, really the most of people that we hired were from Ukraine and Guyana. And the Guyanese, by the way, they speak English. They were an English colony until 1968. And this area right here between these two dotted lines is part of Guyana, all the way to this border over here. It's all jungle, of course, mostly jungle. But the problem is, this dotted line over here is what Venezuela claims as its border. All right? And, there's been all sorts of reasons and negotiations, and, but, like, it's so 19th century, and it all fits. But why is this also important for the EU? Well, look what's over here. What's this? This is French Guiana. If you didn't know, French Guiana is an overseas department of France. It's part of the EU. The EU is actually closer to this war here than America is. If you don't think French Guiana is important, it's where EU launches most of its space satellites from, because it's close to the equator. Yeah? Just for example. All right. So what's going to happen here? Well, probably the U.S. is going to have to step in, and I hope the U.S. is going to have to step in and make sure this doesn't happen. But they're not. Oh, God. Fucking Biden. Man, I'm so glad I can't drink vodka anymore. I mean, it's just, classic case of bullying on a massive international stage. So I don't know. Does the United States care about this, about Guyana? It's highly questionable. Highly questionable. And Brazil is supposed to be an ally to Guyana, but I have a feeling that there's some backhanded deals been going on between Brazil and Venezuela, because this area here that you see that's a little bit light green there, that's the area where there's no jungle, or I guess farmland or something. I'm not sure what's there, but it's not jungle. Okay? That's the area where Venezuela could cross over into Guyana and cut off this whole area. They really can't do it up here because this is just crazy ass jungle, no roads or very little, just. But here they could, and it's all connected, It's all connected. So how is this going to work with the new MEATWAVES? That's the real question, right? How is Putler going to use this LGBT issue to recruit new soldiers? Well, remember that if you go to prison now in Russia, you basically go straight to the front. You basically go straight to Ukraine. That's what they're doing now. Okay? So now, anybody who's gay, anybody who's accused of being gay, right? Like me. Yeah? If I were in Russia right now, God, no, let's not even want to think about it. But I would certainly be, put in a MEATWAVE and off to the front. No, it won't be just LGBT that gets sent. No, not at all. In fact, here's the thing, though. Here's the amazing thing about being gay in Russia is, even your own mother may hate you. All they have to say is, "Oh, why did he get sent to prison and sent to the front?" Well, we found out he was gay. Oh my God, people will say. Well, why would he ever make that choice? What a terrible choice to be gay. What an evil person. We thought he was so good. We thought he was so nice. He was such a great person. He went to church every day. Well, he was gay. Now we hate him. Switches from love to hate. Whole families can. I know because I've seen it in America, where a young person or older person comes out to their family as gay, and the family never speaks to them again. Kicks them out of the house. They're homeless on the streets at the age of 16 or something. It's very common in America. So how much worse in Russia? That's all it takes. And if they can force Ukrainians in the occupied territories into these MEATWAVES, they can surely do it with anybody and just label them as gay. That's all they have to do. Now here you go, Putler. You know, here's your fresh meat. You know, and I just was reminded of this. It's an ironic poem for me right now. First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. And they came, you know, but it's like you could just reverse the terms, you know. Then they came for the Jews, but I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. And then they came for the gays. You know. And you're right, K-Bell. It's not going to be just LGBT people. It's going to be anyone who is even remotely suspected of being LGBT, because Putler's looking for fresh meat. This is the freshest meat on the market. That's what's happening. So, and think about how many countries around the world don't support LGBT. This is yet another wedge that the Russians are using to get into Africa, get into the Middle East. Being gay in parts of Africa is, you know, practically a death sentence. So he's just trying to, you know, get more on his list. Obviously, most of the world supports Ukraine, but are they in it? Are they in it to win it? You know, and all it takes is for one American presidential candidate to say, you know, who I'm against LGBT, and make it a thing, you know, because that 20 to 30%, they are mostly the religious right in America. So they're not going to move from their position of being anti-gay, because their minister, their preacher, every Sunday is telling them that it's evil and it's from the devil and all this other stuff, you know. So how long does it take before you know, the equation happens in American politics of, you know, the LGBT agenda is bad, just like Russia just declared the LGBT movement is extremist, you know, all those red areas right there. So therefore, Putler is against LGBT. He must be good. Putler good. Liberal democracy bad. All of those red areas there where they barely pay attention to anything besides Fox News. You know, that's I think you know, 50%, more than 50% of the United States is Christian, but only about 25 to 30% of those hardcore ones. And I know about it because I used to be one. I was raised up Foursquare Pentecostal, if you know what that is. So, but I guarantee you, not just 30% of pastors. You know, this. Let's see, the U.S. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. He's a pastor from Louisiana. You know, from down here in that one of that red, dark red area of the map. And he is super, super, super anti-gay, anti-LGBT. He's one of these people who, believes that gay rehabilitation theory can work, can change people, Usually what happens is later on down the road we find out that actually people who are like this, who are like this, they're really passionate against gays. Later on it turns out that we find out they actually were gay themselves and they just hated themselves. It's happened more than once in American politics and elsewhere. So, I mean, in some ways, we can say this is a good thing. Now we know where everybody is. If you've ever heard the term naked lunch, this is a naked lunch. Allen Ginsberg made up the meaning, but naked lunch, Ginsberg. Yeah. If you haven't read it, it's good. It's a good book, I mean. Okay. Well, I'll find it. That's not the Ginsberg quote I was looking for. What Ginsberg actually said is, I think it was Ginsberg. It said that naked lunch is the moment when everyone at the table can see what's on everyone else's fork. That's a naked lunch. Yeah. So this is that time, We know what's on Putler's fork. So I just think about we think we're so progressive and so far ahead. We're so democratic and free. It doesn't take much for us to step back into the bad old days, It's still just under the surface. Just under the surface. And I think this is a big reason why the world is lining up. We have to draw this line in the sand that now, unfortunately, basically, if you are pro-LGBT, you're pro-Ukraine. And anti-Russia. If you're anti-Russia, you're pro-Ukraine. So maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. All 5 of you. But that's what I'm saying. So, this wasn't really necessarily a news report. This is what I see coming. And maybe in a year, I'll edit this. I'll go back and edit this, and I'll say, well, I was wrong. Thank God. But, I just don't think so. Anyway, that's what I had to share with you today. I guess this is a little bit shorter stream. I want to ask you all to, if you can, support the Legion through the website I have here, or in any way that you can to support Ukraine. This is a website for the International Legion for the Defense of Ukraine, and my channel is devoted to that. If you don't know, go back and watch some of my previous videos. Maybe I'll link the one where I talk about the purpose of the channel. And in particular, right now, we're going to have a live stream on Sunday to talk to Tony again, Anthony. He's an American who was fighting for Ukraine. I trained with him in the Legion last summer, and he fought. He was in Ukraine for 4 months, fought for 3 of those months. He had to go back for some family stuff, and now we're trying to get him a plane ticket back. At the moment, his unit needs him back. He's a sniper and a machine gunner with military experience, and they can't get him a plane ticket. They can't afford a plane ticket for him. So we've raised more than $500 now for the plane ticket for him. He's actually taken a short-term job to help raise money. He's got 2 children, a wife and 2 children in South Carolina, I believe. But he still wants to go back and fight for Ukraine. So, so we estimate the ticket's going to be about $1,000. We're shooting for $1,500 just in case, because you never know. But I think if we can get close to 1,000, then we'll probably try and buy the ticket then. So look forward to Sunday, and I hope I see you all there. And thank you all for coming. By the way, I wanted to open up Discord today, but my computer, I have so many programs running, my computer just wouldn't handle it. But I will be over the weekend. I had a lot of new members join Discord, and I will be over the weekend going and talking to everybody in there, and kind of, just doing sort of an introduction and maybe kind of a planning meeting, a little bit of a. I want to find out, what people who are actually members. I know the memberships. A lot of them were gifted memberships, but I want to find out who you are, what you want to do, how you want to help, if you would actually like to get involved. This is your opportunity too. And getting involved doesn't mean coming to Ukraine and fighting like Tony here. Okay, it doesn't even mean necessarily donating money. It means getting together with your friends and talking to people. Maybe it means going out and holding a pro-LGBT, pro-Ukraine protest in your town or city. Maybe it just means having people over for dinner to talk about these issues, with like-minded people. And maybe everybody comes up with something. So I hope that some of you are able to do that. I'm not going to do a live stream tomorrow night because I have just too many classes. I'm teaching too late. K-Bell, that's really awesome. I'm glad you're going to be coming back. Maybe on our Discord we can talk about, I don't know, maybe we can meet up somehow, or I'd like to maybe interview you or talk to you about your work here and find out more about that. That's super awesome. I think you might have friended me on Facebook, and I looked at your profile. I can't remember. This week has been such a blur. But it'd be really nice to get to know you. So, and Shere Khan and a lot of our new members and donors and stuff. I'm really interested in getting to know everybody. With that, I'd like to say do побачення. And if you don't know what that means, it means like see you later, basically. Do побачення. It's Ukrainian. And Slava Ukraine.